It was around the year of our Lord, 860. In the mid-autumn season, that was the time of the harvest. The evening was late in the hour, in a certain forest that I will not name. In the hills of Germany, evil forces gathered to discuss the situation that they could sense unfolding, but did not yet know the details. Until now. These were the sources behind the legends of many supernatural figures who were once human and died. But somewhere along the way, whether by their own design or discovering something of immense power that allowed them to transcend death and linger, acquiring more power, until just their mere presence became associated with things considered to be supernatural and beyond any conceivable mortal ability. Such as Hansel and Gretel, the Germanic legend of the witch who ate children, but in truth she drained them of their essence to elongate her life, a power she had acquired from one called Gulveig. Was there. The sea hag, Gulveig, the witch who haunted the seas that was also called Circe and lured sailors off their ships to her island to become her spiritual vessel and drain them of their spiritual energy in order to perpetuate her own, was also there. The figure behind the inspiration of the Divine Comedy and Dante's Inferno, the dealer of souls and the true enigma that inspired Stephen King to write his book, Needful Things, was there as well, known by many names. Mephistopheles. He would appear to those he brought disaster to in secret, only to appear as the one solution that could fix their problem. For a price, their soul, the very essence of everything that they were. For in his battle against God, he took what was his and would remake it to serve his purpose and by his design, as a defiance to his authority. Sad, really. All of his time, he had dedicated to fighting against something he had perceived as his enemy, because of mere men who went forth in his name and caused the events that turned him into an adversary against that which was responsible, never knowing that the true God had not even met him until he had become pitted against him. So much talent, such a waste. In a gesture towards the great equilibrium or cosmic balance, evil was not the only ones invited to this gathering, for the orchestrator of this meeting had seen that often, when the forces of good and evil are equally balanced in a situation, such as one that could change the course of life as it was, then the forces of evil's efforts are more in favor of succeeding when they are allied with good and not just one-sided. The concept of the great cosmic balance is a subject that usually concerns gods and cosmic entities, as it is the wheel that governs and decides their fates. If a god seeks to survive a situation of conflict, then it is by the principalities, the equilibrium of balance in a situation between the influence and beliefs of that which is good and evil, are the arbiters of fate that decide the actions, the outcome, the residual control and presence of any supernatural force, be it a god or demon. The Sisters Three, the incarnates of the life force of the earth, the Great Mother, Gaia, were there. They were the enigma whose connection to the ley line energy of the earth that was believed to have been a living conscious being known by the old god's name, such as Mithras or Ma. that their connection allowed them to alter and influence the mystic energies to their will, even divert spells being cast. This was the foundation which supports the rule of three. Use magic for selfish or evil intent, then omens shall return upon you threefold. A mystic law, and proven true many times.
The witches at that time were very knowledgeable in the matters of seasonal cycles and astrological anomalies, such as those unnatural events that defied the normal cycle that they believed to be times of omens, and where I might find a crack in the pattern and escape my prison to be free. However, during meetings like this, all sorts of strange anomalies would begin to occur as I manifested more into the physical realm. Then I would appear, as if I had corrupted the area, just to make it comfortable enough so that my presence wasn't seen as a defiance to the natural world. But with the all-consuming evil in the air, I was simply expected to be found in the middle of this scene that unfolded before them. The moon would run red like blood, and the water around them would suddenly turn to blood, and the night would become veiled by a cloak of darkness as moon would eclipse, birds would fall from the shy dead. Once the darkness settled over the area, you would know I was there, somewhere within it. They all questioned why they were called there. Some of them had once fallen with me and said, whatever it was I was planning, I could count on them not to be a part of any of it. They all were speaking at once, and I quickly quieted them with the flash of an image none of them had seen of an evil that none of them could conceive, followed by a simple demand for silence. The meeting began with my speech. I have called you all here because it is a matter of great importance. Our very existence is being threatened, and we must make a choice now on what to do about it while we still have the opportunity. They all looked at the ground. None of them were able to deny the looming threat that they all felt coming, but could not precisely describe what it was. The Sisters Three and the other righteous aligned guests all wondered and asked why it was any concern of theirs, and why were they even called here. It was probably something we had caused to happen by our evil ways, and so thus deserved what we had coming. I simply replied, no, this is not anything wrought by our hand, and you know it. You know that you cannot trust aligning with what is rising, because it will consume you once it consumes us. There is, however, a chance that we might possibly escape this grim omen upon us. But in order to succeed, we must all agree to this choice and not deviate, no matter the cost. The path is simple in design, but not in staying to the path. The choice is that we go into the shadows of myth and become only whispers in their fairy tales. We must renounce our habits and natural ways we have developed in our leisurely life. We have adapted here and disappear without any trace of the truth of us for anyone to find. Baba Yaga spoke up with reverence in her tone. Note that this was just before she lost her loyalty towards that which she once worshipped, when she did not see herself as greater or better than anyone else, back when she still had respect for my authority. Master, what is it that could possibly threaten all of us combined? Are we not a force to be reckoned with? I looked over to her, and then the rest of them. True, we sources of evil are together a formidable force, but we are evil. None of us can rely on the others to work as a team without scheming some way to undermine the others for their own gain. Then I looked at the righteous figures present as I said, one thing we have noticed though, when we face odds that are too much for us to overcome, and it involves the suffering of the innocent, we evil ones have the best luck and success if we include an equal sense of balance between us by making an alliance with the forces of good and working together to achieve our goal. And since it is something we all will be affected by, it only made sense to make a pact for a truce to pursue this common enemy between us. This recessive memory's chain of events are not correct. I must realign the scenario
start again to get the full, correct discussion and outcome.